Always, I get so much support from you lot. Can I just say, right? Hello, and welcome. Let's make sure that I'm live. I don't know whether or not they are. Oh, hang on. I don't think you are. No, you're not. Okay, try now.
It's me.
Yeah, there you go. They're live as now. They're making fun of me because I had a tooth extraction on Thursday, and there's a massive gap here. So I'm trying not to smile, otherwise I look like some wicked witch from the east or something like that. So, but
why do you stick some cotton wool up it?
Oh yeah, well that would attract attention to it at all.
No, your camera's not that good.
Hi, Violet Gumby. Thank you for your bits. It's very kind that you shared your bits with us. Thank you very much. Anyway, hello and welcome to episode 3.
What?
Of that's 3 for
oh,
you.
Trois.
Yes, what did you think I said?
Something else.
Now, can I just warn you that I'm feeling a bit sleepy tonight, because I actually got up at 5 o'clock to watch Ninja's ESO stream into a vain attempt to learn something this morning. So I'm a bit dopey, or even more dopey than I normally am.
Hang on, which the Ninja?
The Ninja.
Ninja
614.
Yeah. Ah, right, not esports extraordinaire Ninja.
Why would I be watching esports?
No, I said esport. Ninja, the actual streamer who, has sort of like 90,000 views when he Twitch streams.
No, not
right.
Not that Ninja at all.
Right,
anyway,
okay.
But I am here and we're going to persevere, even though we're going to lose an hour tonight, as the clocks go forward in the UK and will send us into the wonderful British summertime. Life goes downhill from tonight onwards until October. Hot weather is on its way. Anyway,
not next week. It's not.
You just
really
Medivac, just get my mail delivered. That's all you need to worry about. Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing stops.
Can't even do that right.
Sorry. Okay. Anyway, welcome, and this is Mithras, a role-playing game based on the RuneQuest rules, and starring these 4 fearless adventurers. Who are they, and who do they play? Well, you are going to find out now, when we start off just down there with the legend, which is Mr. Pickles.
I am Mr. Pickles, and I am also a legend of some sort. I play Bartleby Fumus, our team's resident theist. I follow the goddess Amriel, who encompasses all that is light, enlightening, and moonlight. I also provide things such as knowledge to the group, and that's about it. And I'm going to throw the microphone as hard as I can over to Longshanks EPG to introduce his character.
Who's eating a pie?
I'm not at the moment. Hi guys, I'm Longshanks EPG. Tonight I'm playing the group's warrior, it's like combat guru and all-time good guy, Hengist. And I'm going to pass it on to the ginger-haired Muppet over that way somewhere.
Thank you very much. Can I not be a legend as well?
No, you're a ginger-haired Muppet.
Can I be a legend?
Legend.
Anyway, hi guys, I'm Chugwugger. I play Gulliver, or Gully as he's normally referred to. He's a young, short and scrawny person with a mop of ginger hair and a freckly complexion. Gulliver is an apprentice in the Order of the Kraken, which is one of the 4 sorcery orders on Odys. His particular order specializes in communication, transportation, and teleportation spells. When not relying on his spells, Gulliver usually gets by following the words of wisdom that his former mentor, Master Healy, was always eager to bestow on him. None more important than Master Healy's parting words, which were, "Gully, my boy, eat a live frog first thing in the morning, and nothing worse will happen to you for the rest of that day." And I am going to pass on to Medivac.
You've never eaten a live frog.
No, but it's the saying how it goes.
Excellent.
It means if you get the thing done at the beginning of the day that you're dreading the most, then you get it over with, and everything else is
Oh, right. It's not that it turns into a princess or anything like that.
no.
Okay.
No.
Excellent.
I was going to buy some frogs.
Now, we're going to have a swap of character near the beginning of today's adventure because Medivac started to play with us last week, but due to timings, etc., he actually played Jason Lawson, the guard. However, this week he's going to be playing his own character. And Medivac, rather than introducing him now, I think it'd be the best opportunity for you to introduce yourself in character when we get to
Yes,
the appropriate
indeed.
part in the adventure. So I'll pick up how to say your name once we get there. So let me give you a quick synopsis of the adventure so far. The party have been hired by Count Bastion to venture up the river on a barge to a town or settlement at the end of the river near a waterfall and a great lake called Ubbin Falls. The town of Lindo have lost contact with the village, and they have asked the adventurers to go off and find what is going on there. Even Gulliver's Order has lost their location marks, meaning that they can no longer port straight to the village. Something is definitely amiss. However, on the way, after being nearly poisoned by a spy or a deadly assassin of some description on the barge, they managed to defeat water goblins or lizard men. And then last week they stopped off at a farm, at a bridge that led to a farm where Captain Sarv, the leader of the crew, had told them that there was an ex-hero of the Battle of the Seeds living down in the farm, and that he wanted the party, led by town's guardman Hengist, to go off and investigate. The Sarv also sent Jason Lawson, the guard, with them, and they headed off to the location of the guard. Of the farm. Several things happened along the way. They noticed that the fungal growth, as they got closer and closer to the farm, became more and more dense and intense around the surrounding countryside. They easily defeated fire beetle that was grazing on the fungus. And as they became closer and closer to the house, they noticed that the fungal growth was more and more and more and more. They then encountered what appeared to be a ghost of some description, who attacked Bartleby and gave him hideous dreams of when he actually had his hands and they were fit and well, and slowly throughout their dreams his hands were slowly mutilated. Using just his willpower alone and the faith in Amriel, his goddess, he managed to draw himself out of that. As the party rushed in, Gulliver, despite being in just woven linen cloth, went up to a rather beastly looking zombie that grabbed his neck, and if it wasn't for his tin pot helmet, he would have probably lost his head, and if it had got his arm, then we would have been talking to this week with only one arm Gully. While this was all happening and Gulliver and Jason were defeating the zombie, Hengers was down below in the cellar, rummaging in his chest, where he found a mysterious breastplate in the trunk that was down underneath the house. And that is where we finished last week, guys. We've just finished the combat, and that was it. And so it's literally at the end of combat that we finished. So Gulliver, I think you've got a bit of blood coming from your neck, and Hengist, I think you actually got to the stairs. I will pull you across and I will transition you over, and I think that is where we left it. So Bartleby, you're actually outside. Can you see yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, and you are now conscious, and you heard the battle inside. Can I please remind you that this person here seems to be a boy, similar to the mother that you're all congregating around, and he is currently as if he's propped up against the bed, with sort of like the fungus growing up and over him. And you can also notice that there's spores of it coming out of his mouth and out of his eye sockets as well. And we will start off the adventure there. Off you go.
Okay, so Gulliver's going to turn round to, was it James?
Jason.
Jason. And he's going to say, take care of the other one. And he's going to start heading back outside to check on.
That's the window.
There's the door. This is it. Stupid window.
That's it. The window.
I'm going to dive out the window.
across the cast.
So funny. That was so noble. I'm going to dash out the boarded up window.
He's then going to dash out to check on Bartleby.
Yeah, and Ben will probably come out the same as well. Ben will probably stay in to deliver the killing blow, because this female zombie is somewhat unconscious, and then that's it. Okay, so Gulliver, you're going outside to make sure that Bartleby's fine. Jason and Hengist, what are you guys doing?
Well, Hengist has just got up from the cellar, so he's just climbed up the ladder, seeing sort of like pandemonium. He goes, "What's going on, Jason? Jason, what happened?"
Stay away from the boy. The woman just woke up and she tried to kill Gully. So I'm going to go deal with the boy before he can do anything. And Jason's going to walk across. I've got no control. And he's going to stick his spear in the boy's head.
Yeah, it's sort of like there's no resistance here at all from the young lad. He just seems to be a boy, probably about 8 years old, and you just sort of like take your weapon, and instead of giving him a gentle tap on the head with it, you just slam your spear right the way through his skull, sort of like impaling it quite nicely. There's a nice crunch and a puff of spores as it goes through. And Hengist, you notice Ben watching it, and there's almost like some kind of flicker of recognition in his eyes for one moment, and they somewhat sort of like bulge and get wider, with as if he's suddenly remembering something. But then they lose all clarity, and yet again he just sort of like looks like puzzled, and it's that he can't remember anything. And then he heads off outside to see how Bartleby's going.
So Gulliver's going to rush up to Bartleby. Is he still on the floor, but just he's conscious now?
Yeah.
So he's going to go and he's going to say, Bartleby, what happened? All of a sudden you collapsed and you started to writhe on the floor, and I tried to cast a spell on you, and it didn't happen. Then I had to go in, and there was like a woman there covered in all these spores, and we had to kill her. And Hengist was, where was Hengist?
Hengist is now sort of followed everyone else, and he's come up to go and check on Bartleby as well.
I had to cast a spell on you, Bartleby, and I had to damage you. I thought maybe I could jolt you awake, but it didn't work. But if you just stay there, and I'll see whether or not I can heal you. Gulliver wants to cast a spell.
Yeah, cool.
So I want to. As Bartleby's there on the floor, Gulliver wants to put his hand outstretched on his chest with his two fingers crossed, and he wants to say, Leia, and cast a spell.
Cool. Shoot. Yeah, that's nice.
Nice.
So, therefore, it will restore all your. How many hit points did you lose from your chest?
2.
Yeah, so that will restore all your lost hit points instantly.
You suddenly have a warm, fuzzy feeling in your chest.
I'm sorry, Gulliver, but there are things that you cannot replace. There are evils in this place. Either Amriel cannot or will not protect this land. There's evil here. They
Have you
tried to
seen my
enter
head?
soul.
Yeah, it's around your neck that she grabs. So it's almost as if she you've almost like got vampire marks down as where her nails are sort of like gone into your throat on either side. That's what it is.
Look, can you see Bartleby?
Indeed.
She had me by the neck, and I managed to get my dagger, and I plunged it into her chest, but it didn't help.
I believe that, and you would agree with me, we need to get out of here as soon as possible.
I don't think we're going to have any more problems from the people inside, because I think they're dead now.
Whilst I
Most
was,
likely
Yeah,
more.
Jason comes out and sort of like says, "They surely are."
There's going to be more. I can feel it. This is a cursed land.
we should probably tarry here a moment longer, because whilst I was in the house searching for whatever it was that caused this to happen, to this thing to befall you, Bartleby, I found some interesting things in the cellar. There was a chest with a breastplate that had, in wheels. Was it a familiar design? Have I seen that design before? I can't remember.
Yeah, it was the it was a goblet with a
It was the Templar one. Okay.
Yeah, it was the same one that you I think even Bartleby, were you there when they did the raid on the Sanctuary of the Templars?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just
yeah.
didn't remember
Yeah,
it being
so-
described
yeah,
when
so
we were in that raid.
Yeah.
That's where we got his bracelet from.
Oh yes, of course. How could I forget? Yeah. So it's exactly like that. Yeah. Sorry, I forgot about that.
Right.
Haha. Let me just make a note, Bartleby.
So yeah, whilst I was, I found a chest full of with breastplate and other pieces of armor bearing the crest of the Templars.
So do you think the Templar was from here?
Wow, it stands to reason. You know, a warrior wouldn't be far from his armor, even if he had given it up for a while. He'd always keep it handy, out of pride, if nothing else.
I think we need to go and check out the house and see what else we can find. Are you going to be okay, Bartleby, or?
Just as you're discussing this, Jason and Ben, who have been sort of like keeping an eye out at the surrounding countryside, suddenly brings your attention to a human walking towards the house with some pace. It doesn't seem as if it is running to attack or running to escape. It looks like the person is purposefully coming towards the accommodation. And this is when
Which direction is it coming from?
you'll see the counter. There you go.
Does he look like that? Is he all sort of like covered in?
Medivac can describe what he looks like.
Hail, friends. As I step across.
Say what you look like first. Yeah. So
Yes, basically same robes, but dark grey. So very, very grey. Some bits a little bit greyer than others. The sort of thing where if you saw him at night, he would just blend in. And you wouldn't.
Can we see any facial features or anything like that, or are they
No, just his piercing blue eyes.
okay? Build wise, is it obvious that he's
He's slight build, just over or just shy of 6 foot, and he carries himself with a confident manner.
so as
And he's armed with a short spear.
With the short spear, and you can see a saber tucked in his belt behind him.
as he approaches, Gulliver's going to be reaching into his tunic, and he's going to grab hold of the disc that he uses to cast his more powerful sorcery spells through. But he doesn't take his hand out of his tunic.
Hail, people! Is there a guard Hengist here?
Hengist says he's got his hand on the hilt of his right hand, sorry, on the hilt of his sword, and he steps forward and say, "I am the guard Hengist."
Oh, wonderful! Captain Sav said you'd recognize his ring, and I'll show him the ring.
What?
His ring.
It's ring.
All right.
Do I recognise it in Wills?
Yeah, it's actually Sarv's captain of the town guards ring, and the rest of you recognise it as well because you've seen it frequently on Sarv's finger, and Jason verifies it as well.
What is your name, traveller? And
My
how
name
can we
is-
help you?
My name is Hazra Khan, and I've been hired by the Count to come bring troubling news to you. I have been sent forward by Captain Sav to relay this message, which was given to him by the Count. And it's about what has happened in the city.
Gulliver's going to lean over to Bartleby and say, "I can hardly understand what he's saying."
Sorry, I'm from the steppes.
You're from where?
The steppes.
The steps.
Yeah, I'm going to have to write a few things down for you, you little fella.
What is the news of the Count?
The information I've been told to tell you is someone was found dead in the supply depot and the body was hidden. Now the Count's men were able to communicate with his spirit, and they found out that he had overheard a discussion between some assassins in the supply depot. And when they realized he was watching them, they killed him and hid his body.
Did my fellow guard manage to give descriptions of the assassins before he?
No,
before he
sadly,
died?
the only thing they could find out was that the assassins were hired by a group of people called the Survivors.
I've never heard of those. Who are they?
Sadly, that is all the information I was given by the Count.
Well,
Have-
that
have you-
was
Sorry?
I think Longshanks was saying something. He stopped now.
I stopped because we started. Gully and I started at the same time. But Hengist will turn and say, "Well, that would tie together with the Russians that were poisoned on the barge. That makes more sense now."
I told you that I had been told by the order that somebody had done something at the back at the Baron's place.
But this news just confirms it even more, and now we have the culprit, the name of the group of the culprits as well.
Well, thank you very much for your for your information.
You're most welcome. The Count asked me to stay and help as I can. I'm a keen tracker, and I'm very good at finding things.
Right. Okay.
My services.
Are you Right.
Do you know the details of the mission we're on for the Count?
Only what I've been told.
What was your name again?
Hazra Khan.
Hazra.
Yes, that is correct.
Hazra. Right. Okay. Well, I need to. I need to find out what's happened here.
Certainly. I'm at your disposal.
Okay. Well, Guard Hengist will give you things to do.
That is fine.
Gulliver's going to say, "I'm going back in the house. I want to search it quickly. Are you going to wait outside, Bartleby, or?"
I don't think that'll be safe. I'd like to stick around the rest of you, but Traveler Hazra Khan, have you seen any other people alive in this village?
No, I have come straight from the barge to bring you this message. It was most urgent.
Right. Sorry, I just had a spirit in my head. Makes me a little fuzzy.
I had like a woman all covered in mold and stuff, and she had her hand round my neck. Look, you can still see the marks.
Oh my life! Strange things that are tied.
Right. I'm going to go and have a look, see what I can find.
Hengist is going to go with Gully.
Jason will keep an eye on the door. Bartleby, you should have control of Ben.
I do. I just wanted to confirm that I can following the group before I start throwing my tile around.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine.
Guard Hengist, what would you like me to do, sir?
Have you brought a whole load of concubines with you or something? Every time I get this funniest feeling every time you talk. I get to hear all these voices in my head.
I know. Sorry.
It's just like
I have one of the girls chatting down here at the moment.
Oh, does she not have a room to go to?
Yes.
Inwards.
Okay, so is the idea that Gully, you're leading the charge back into the house then?
Well, yeah. I mean, Gulliver. As far as Gulliver is concerned, the house is pretty clear now.
Right. Okay then. So, despite nearly having your head ripped off, you bravely lead the party back into the house. So just to remind you, in case you had forgotten what it looked like from the previous week's adventure, the majority of the floor is actually covered in what appears to be sort of like tendrils and strands of like fungal mildew all over the place. Remember, it's quite soft to walk on as it's built up over several layers over a huge amount of time. Remember, around the sides it's actually started to grow up the sides of the wall, and on the furniture, i.e. the table and the chairs in the middle, and on the bed and the table in the far top left of the picture, it has sort of like gone over and covered all that as well. The green looking plant down at the bottom, sort of like north southeast of the room, is just sort of like a mound of mildew, and the orange square up at the top with the purple little bit on, that is the trapdoor that we saw with the ladder going down to the unlit cellar below.
So on this table in the middle, is there anything laid out on it? Is there sort of like eating, plates or anything like that?
Yeah, so as you stand in the doorway with Hengist behind you, you can see that the house itself looks like it would be normally just set up for a normal, day. So you can see that there's pewter plates on there and mugs. It looks like it's a simple setup. There's no food on it, but it doesn't look like it's been ransacked or disturbed in any way. It just looks like it was almost as if time had suddenly stopped in this place, and that and it was almost being kept in some kind of stasis.
How many people was it set for?
No, they're just piled up. It's not set up like a meal. They're just sort of like some pewter plates, cups, saucers. No, it's cups, mugs, sorry, and cutlery and things like that. It doesn't look like it was a romantic meal or anything like that. It just looks like it was set up.
Okay. So Hengist is going to ask guard Jason to stand outside, keep guard, and let us know as soon as he sees anything, anyone or anything coming.
Yeah.
Then he's going to say to, sorry, was it Hazar Khan? Hazra Khan. I think you should probably come with us, and we will start to fill you in. If you're going to be travelling with us, you're going to need to know some of what's going on.
Yes, Effendi, I will follow.
And then he says, Bartleby, Gully, I think we should probably go to the cellar first, because that's where I found the armour. There might be other things down there. Just watch your footing. It's very dark and even worse than it is up here.
But before I want to venture too far into this house, I'd like to pray for the insight and ability to see any of these threats that come forward. If you catch my drift of what prayer that might be, I'm gonna move my arms a bit too, if you don't mind me rolling.
I don't mind at all.
Excellent. And it is my arm moving of that.
Yeah, which comes off very nicely. Yeah.
Yeah, now I feel safe. I'll enter and see if my eyes detect anything. Magic point decreased.
Yeah. Okay, so there needs to be a slight alteration at the front before you can get in, because Gully and Hengist are both stood in the doorway at the moment.
Well, Gulliver's going to start heading around the edge of the room. He's going to give this woman, well, actually, he's going to sort of like see her there, and then he's going to approach her, and he's sort of like he's going to grab hold of his knife that's still stuck in a chest, and sort of like looking away, he's going to try to pull it out.
Yeah, it comes out quite easy. This woman is very sort of like, almost like husky dry. It's not as if she's oozing blood. It looks like her life force and life fluids were eradicated a long time ago. It's just like an empty husk left of her. And you do notice that when you pull the knife out, you can see inside the wound there seems to be these tendrils of the fungus growing within her.
Gulliver's going to sort of like look closer, then he's going to turn around and he's going to say, it almost looks like the mold was, and the tendrils was controlling her. Bartleby, come and have a look.
Okay, I'll get closer very reluctantly, with a candle in hand, of course.
Yeah, cool. I've just sent the results of your witch sight to you.
Oh, delightful.
This is the one that grabbed me round the neck. Look, you can still see the marks.
I can. There seems to be something like a faint humming of energy through all of these tendrils. Amriel is allowing me to see the truth of them. I think there's something not natural.
Just roll your insight, Bartleby, for me, please.
Absolutely. Do you want me to blind roll it?
No, because you don't know why.
Is it like they're alive?
Gotcha. And kind of success.
Yeah. The more you look at this woman, you suddenly notice that there's a lot of similarities between this woman and the ghost-like figure and the spirit that you encountered outside, and you come to the conclusion that it's probably one of the same person.
I'm going to take several steps back, kind of hiding behind this table a little bit, and say to Gulliver, I can see from over here plenty. There's some unnatural magic in here. I don't know about this place, guys.
Gulliver, did you just heal Bartleby, or did you heal yourself as well?
No, I just healed Bartleby.
Oh, right, okay.
That's sweet.
I keep dropping hints to him, but he just keeps ignoring them.
I didn't know. I didn't know why you hadn't healed. I didn't know whether or not it was like one. You know, sometimes your spells do multiple people. I didn't know whether or not you had shaped it or anything to heal more than one person.
No, because it's a folk magic spell. I can only do that with sorcery spells.
My tenacity is so low right now.
Yeah, just to let you know, your tenacity will come back through resting. So, you know, eventually it will sort of like gradually come back through good night's sleep, just like magic points would. Just interestingly enough, I was talking to another DM of Mithras who was talking. We were talking about the situation, Bartleby, and he sent me a wonderful table that I wish I'd had, because it shows if you drop to 0, you almost like become insane, and it has various options that I could impose on the party, you know, or on the player, which I thought I've got it now, so I'll be looking.
Good.
Looking forward to using that later on.
So Gulliver wants to start moving around the rest of the he's looking for anything that might be out of place in the.
Well, there's a mug that you think is probably too far to the right. You know, it's probably be more symmetrical if it was slightly over to one side.
So he wants to go now. He wants to go and have a look at this table as well. See what's on here.
Yeah, it just seems to be like cooking pots, various sort of like baskets that obviously have some rotting vegetables in, that are also like covered up with this mold. You do notice that underneath there is what appears to be a mattress of some description that seems to be pushed underneath the table. And it looks like there's a blanket underneath there as well. But everything is covered in this mildew and fungal growth. There's also various buckets around the place. Down in the south western corner, you can see that's the hearth. There's where the fire would be. There's some logs in the corner that you can see that is now covered in this fungal growth. You can even see the remains of what appears to be a cooking pot dangling over the fire, but as the rest of this place, it's all sort of like being encompassed by the fungal growth.
Okay, so after seeing that, Gulliver's going to turn around and he's going to say, "There's a sleeping cot underneath here. So it probably belonged to the boy, which means that maybe the knight who was guarding the seed was from here after all."
Well, yes, that's good news, but also, as we were tasked to try and find him, equally not good news. Hengus says as he's sort of like stepping onto the ladder to go down into the cellar to further explore it.
I'm going to have a look at this child and turn my head in disgust and say, "These are fiends that would kill a child in such a manner."
Hengus, you did have a torch at one point. Did you leave it down there? I can't remember.
He dropped it at the base of the ladder.
Oh yeah, so it's illuminating the cellar as it was beforehand.
Yeah, so Hengus is going to make his way down.
Okay.
And then when he gets to the bottom, he wants to pick up his torch and then carry on exploring. He's going to start with the chest and the arm, and he wants to have a look at that. he wants to see if it's covered in mildew or not.
Yeah, as previously mentioned, the chest was open, and it looks like the fungal growth has sort of like enveloped the chest. And if you remember, just as you looked through it, you could see this almost like silvery metal glinting from down below, and you could just see the insignia of the goblet with an egg, like a Fabergé egg, in the top, which is exactly what you saw in the sanctuary of the Templars underneath Lindo.
Yeah. Hengist, if he can, he wants to sort of like start looking through the chest as well to see if there's anything else in there, if there's any paper or instructions.
Okay, so
something that has writing on.
Yes.
He recognises it as writing, should I say.
So you immediately start to pull away the fungal growth that's enveloped everything, and you see that as you start to pull it away, there's this almost like as if you're disturbing fine dust, and there appears to be sort of like spores emanating out from the chest, and with your torch down on the floor, you can sort of like see them in almost like in the sunbeams of the light, starting to slowly float away. And the more and more you sort of like pull away at this fungal growth and this mildew, more and more of these spores sort of like start to fill up the room. And eventually you've pulled away enough of this fungal growth to see in its full glory this breastplate. There appears to be nothing else in the chest, although it does look like there was something like a velvet cloth or something that maybe have covered it once.
All right, okay.
Gulliver's going to go over to the edge of the trapdoor, and he's going to sort of like peer over.
Yeah, so as you peer over, rather than seeing just clear air, it's almost like there's a fine mist. It doesn't look like swirling vapor mist. It looks as if there's fine powder it floating around in the air down there, and you can see that it's sort of like settling down. And Hengist, you can notice that it started to settle down on you and around you as it hits the ground. Can you just make for me, please? Could you just roll a 1d20, 1d100 for me, please?
Who?
Hengist.
Do you want me to blind roll it to you?
No, just roll 1d100. Cool, thank you.
Gulliver's going to...
Things just land... Sorry, go on, Gulliver.
Gulliver's going to say, Hengist?
Yes, Gully? Hengist says as he's brushing the dust off him.
I wouldn't stay down there too long. There's like a whole load of spores.
I know, I'm on my way up, Gully. There's nothing else that I can seem to find.
Yeah, and as you speak and your breath disturbs the air, you suddenly feel that the inside of your mouth is quite sort of like almost like dry. Now, as you've started to, obviously, as you spoke and started to inhale some of these spores that are sort of like hanging in the air.
Okay. Hengist is going to make his way back up from the top, back up the ladder from the cellar.
Gully, as Hengist comes up the ladder, you almost like see these spores parting, and you can actually see almost like fine dust settling over his shoulders and in his hair as he sort of like climbs up the ladder. Are you bringing the torch with you or not?
Yes.
Yeah, holding onto the ladder with one hand and bringing the torch up with him. Gully,
As Gulliver sees it, he's going to start backing off.
Yeah, okay. Can you just make for me, please? either a first aid, a medicine, or a healing roll.
Ooh.
Whichever one, or anything similar that you have. If you got something similar that you would like to use, then just tell me and I'll say yes or no. It's just that I need to decide on the difficult level that you're
I would have to do first aid because
Okay.
that's the only thing I've got as a standard.
Yeah, that's absolutely cool. Then can you just roll it for me, please? Yeah, and you sort of like as sort of like Hengist comes up, and now Hazra and Bartleby, you can see as Hengist comes up, even from the distance that you're at, you can see that he's almost like got this fine dusty coating on him. And Gulliver, you sort of like step back slightly, and there's this faint smell of sweet perfume as he comes up, and you recognise that it's not actually Hengist's normal deodorant that he's wearing.
Has Gulliver smelt it before?
Roll your insight. No, you've never smelt this before. It smells a bit like roll your locale from your original island. Yeah, it reminds you of roses and primroses and honeysuckle. And you remember smelling them in the garden when you were growing up in Master Healy's sort of like abode, out in his garden, and that it sort of like brings you back memories, almost like transports you back to that time momentarily, as you sort of like step back out of the way as Hengist comes to the top.
Gulliver's going to say, Hengist, what have you touched? You're covered in those spores.
I was looking through the chest with the breastplate to see if there was anything else in there that we could, or a token of some such we could.
Are
take
you
back.
infected? You're going to turn into one of those?
Hengist is infected?
Into one of
Gulliver's
those.
going to keep backing up, and he's going to go.
Gulliver, did you point at something when you said one of those?
Yes, one of these.
Oh yeah, sorry, got you. I didn't know whether or not you meant one of those or something. I didn't know what your sheltered upbringing had been like.
Angus doesn't know what to say to that. He's just a bit like, one of what?
Yeah, Bartleby says, Hengist is infected. Ben comes through the door and says, who's infected?
I want to start shouting the most aggressive prayer possible and pointing at Hengist with bulging eyes and holding my candle at him. It's a prayer of purity and cleanliness, if I can roll for that.
Yeah. Cast your Cure Malady spell.
Let's see, that'd be Exhort.
He's going.
Oh yeah, you already know what I'm doing.
Can you put the spell? Can you put the spell description up first? Because
Oh, absolutely.
I just need to see what the range is of it that you might want to check first.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. I guess I'm gonna have to walk towards him slowly with the candle, and I'm gonna take that risk.
So Hengist, as you sort of like stand there with everybody sort of like Gulliver backing away from you, and Ben sort of like clutching his medallion from his the evil dark moon of Maroth in his hand, and Hazra's being very quiet over by the boy. You notice that Bartleby sort of like holds up a candle and starts to come towards you, sort of like going, oh ye, like this, as he slowly moves towards you.
Gulliver's going to say, close the trapdoor, Hengist.
Hengist will sort of like keeping an eye on Bartleby while he trusts Bartleby with his life. He's still a little bit confused about what's going on. He's going to close the trapdoor.
Yeah, the trapdoor comes down, Bartleby and Hazra and Gulliver, and as it whooshes down, it all goes like that and moves the air, and you notice that there's a sort of like a semicircle of these spores that come out at sort of like ground level as it sort of like comes down and pushes the air out. And Bartleby, how do you wish to get right the way up to Hengist before you cast?
I guess if I see that whoosh, I'm going to hesitate for a moment, but I'm going to keep going forward, trying to, patch in that hesitation with prayer.
I didn't know whether or not you were going to Hengist or you wanted Hengist to come to you.
I'm going to Hengist.
Okay, cool. If you would like to move yourself up, and then I'll tell you what happens. I might have to move you back slightly.
Gulliver's going to reach into his tunic and take out his disc and start holding it out in the general direction of Hengist.
Okay.
And seeing this, Hazard's going to get his spear ready because he doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah, and you hear Bartleby, you hear the muttering of Ben behind you, almost like trying to mirror your incantations, but with a slightly more aggressive tone to them, almost as if he's growling them through his teeth. So while your incantation is quite melodic and pure, his seems to be trying to mirror yours, but with that edge of aggression and almost like thwartness as he tries to mirror your words. Off you go.
Gulliver's going to say, don't make any...
Bartleby, don't roll it just yet. Sorry. Hang on. Yeah, Gully.
Gulliver's going to say, don't make any sudden movements, Hengist.
Okay, so Bartleby, you're going to cast this spell, and this spell, as it says, will actually... it will, if you notice, it says that it will affect any mundane disease or person afflicting the or magical ones whose potency is less than the value of the devotion skill. Okay, so remember, all diseases and potions in the world of Mithras has a potency level, and that is the level of the so-called saving throw. So if the potency of, say, a disease was 50, then you would have to roll your endurance, and you would have to get, you would have to be successful at opposing that roll. Okay, be successful in your roll, but also remember that 50, if you got 27 and 1, the 50 would still win. The only way.
Gotcha.
So if your endurance was just sort of like, it's a standard roll, but if your endurance was, Gulliver, what's your endurance?
Gulliver's endurance is 21.
21. So the only way that Gulliver can actually resist a disease that has a potency 50 is to crit his roll, because his standard roll will never ever beat a 50. Does that make sense to everyone? Because
yeah, it's just like my spells.
Yeah, exactly. And then that would be it. So I need to know your devotion skill first.
59.
59. So if you are successful in your spell cast, then if the potency of any disease or poison, whether or not, if it's mundane, it's fine. If it's magical, then it would have to be a potency less than 59. Okay, and I would like you to roll your exhort blindly to me, please.
Oh, scary. Okay. Skill is 57 for exhort.
Thank you.
And I think I did this correctly. Let's see.
Yeah, that's absolutely brilliant. Thank you. So,
Yeah.
Hengist, it seems to be a quite unique state of affairs here, with Gulliver grasping his medallion power. Hazra with his spear out. You notice that Bartleby is holding a candle in one hand. His eyes are probably closed as he's muttering prayers to Amriel in this melodic, this sweet tone as he reaches his hand out towards you. And as this happens, you can almost hear this aggressive, threatening voice echoing Bartleby just slightly after every single cantation from Ben, who's also clutching his Mathroth medallion and is repeating the words, echoing them with that desire of evilness and aggression. And Bartleby reaches out to his hands and utters the final words of the spell, and you notice this beam of moonlight emanates from his hand over you and surround you, and you all see this as it happens. And just as he finishes it sort of like envelops you all, and then just all of a sudden the candle that Bartleby's holding flickers and goes out. And as it does, the spell ceases, and you just hear the voice of Ben, since he's 1 second behind, finish an incantation slightly after.
Do I feel anything, Mr. Pickles, whilst this is happening? Like, is the spell? Does the spell make anything? Like any tingling, or is it just a?
I would presume that being embraced by Amriel, if the prayer was successfully done, would be a very lightheaded experience, very, very warm and glowing feeling, I guess.
Okay.
Gulliver, in sort of like a hushed tone, will say, "Is he infected, Bartleby?"
Unlikely that he is infected now, as Amriel has purified his blood, I hope.
Just to let you know, Bartleby, because you would know this, your spell actually did work.
Yeah.
The spell came off. Whether or not it cured anything remains to be known. But you were successful.
I think this is gonna, because he's going to look down himself, realise that he's covered in dust. He's going to head on outside, and then he wants away from everyone.
Gulliver's going to, as he's walking past, Gulliver's going to hold out his hand, and he's going to say, "Hengist, give me the torch."
Hengist will pass him the torch, making sure not to make any skin contact, because I'm sure Gully would probably not want that anyway at the moment.
Yeah.
And then he's going to go outside, and he's going to take off his cloak and sort of like slowly take off all his outward facing clothes, so his armor and all that sort of thing, and he wants to get his water skin out, and he wants to try and wash his hair a bit. He's going to swill some water around his mouth and spit it out because it was really dry, and then he's going to drink some, and then he's going to use whatever's left in his water skin to sort of like try and get this dust off his armor.
Hazra's going to follow him outside. And
so Hazra, it's so funny watching your character, because as most people say, I go outside and then move their character outside. Yours slowly inches its way across.
But if you look,
and then he sort of like it's almost as if he's taking 2 steps, and somebody looks around and he goes.
Playing a statue game or something.
It's like mannequins or something.
Gulliver's going to go up to Bartleby, and he's going to say, "Is he infected, Bartleby?"
I'm going to stare at Gulliver, primarily eyeing whether that bruise on his neck's gone away at this point yet, or if it's still there.
No, you can see that he's got like at one side of his neck he has a single puncture wound, and at the other side he has sort of like 4 puncture wounds, and there's a bit of dried blood there and bruising as if he's been grabbed and yanked back towards the. Well, I think what actually happened. I think you were trying to get away, weren't you, Gully?
I had, so I'd impaled it with my knife in its chest, but then rather than pull it out, because he probably wouldn't have the strength to pull it out, he decided to back off.
And the creature grabbed him. Yeah.
The thing grabbed him as he was backing off, and then is it Jason plunged his spear into the
so he's got bruising and blood stained. His neck's not broken, it's not sort of like off to one side or anything like that, but he has suffered a minor wound around his neck.
I say to Gulliver then, I don't think he's infected, though this could be out of the scope of my power. And just for safe measure, I shall cast Amriel's light upon you. I exhort my goddess into letting me roll quick.
If
you don't mind, Inwells.
Yeah, which spell is this?
It's just heal. It's one of those common prayers.
So send me the description first and then heal away.
Can do. And roll away. Oh, gosh.
Gulliver says,
have you got any warts? Gulliver, have you got any warts?
No.
Because if you did,
got freckles, it doesn't cure my freckles, does it?
No, because if you had warts, they would still be there, just so you know.
Can I use a point of luck, actually?
Closed.
Yeah, you can by all means.
Let's see. Decrease point of magic, decrease luck.
Yeah, and that will cause Amriel's magic and warmth and tingliness to cascade round your neck, fondle you slightly for a while, Gulliver, leaving you lightheaded as the wounds down your neck slowly ease and heal up.
Gulliver sort of like pushes throat, sort of like tending to. It feels a lot better now, Bartleby.
In the right moonlight, Amriel reveals that sometimes wounds are just superficial.
Bartleby?
Yes?
Can you do something with my tooth as well? Anything I do, it's all right.
I'll see. I'll put it in order to Amriel. I'll see what I can do for you there.
Regrowth would be lovely.
I think we should stop it spreading anymore.
And how might we do this, Gulliver?
Gulliver sort of like looked to his hand that's holding the torch. Fire should do it.
To burn all of the fungus in this town?
Well, at least burn this place. Look what it did to those people. And the basement's full of the spores.
Ben,
anybody who opens that trapdoor is probably going to get infected.
Ben sort of like looks over to you both and he says, burn their house down will certainly make a beacon, if you get my meaning.
Indeed, Ben. Indeed.
I've got a different idea.
Oh?
We could maybe look for some stuff to make something that we can attach over the door and barricade it from the outside. And the windows are already barricaded, aren't they? Are the windows shuttered or barricaded?
They're shuttered quite naturally from outside, as if somebody was inside and has pulled the shutters shut. They're not sort of like barricaded with a bar or anything from the outside. It's not as if somebody has closed them from the outside to keep something in. It's obviously been closed from the inside, just as you would when you're heading off to bed or something like that.
Okay. We could maybe get something to put over the doorway and just put put on it something like plague or something like that, just to stop people disturbing it.
Do you have anything we could use to mark the door?
Well, no, we would have to look.
Are you looking for something to mark it or to block it?
Well, what I mean, ideally, what I would like to find is like a plank or something that we could maybe write something on.
Yeah,
or scrape something onto it.
Yeah, I mean, what would you? I mean, you're also living in a world that, I mean, if you look at the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of you there, 6 of you there, only 2 of you can actually read.
Right.
So unless your best choice would be to barricade the door from the outside, and hope that when people arrived, they saw that it had been barricaded from the outside in a hope that basically meant do not go in.
Right. Okay. So that's going to be the plan. But Gulliver is also going to go over here to the fireplace, and he's going to look for something like like charcoal.
Yeah, you can pick up some charcoal there as well.
Mm-hmm.
Can I roll a locale to like if there might be a sign that people use or a symbol to describe something that's dangerous or evil?
Okay, so that technically won't be a locale role. That'll be more to do with either law or literacy, if you wish to roll it.
Okay, I'll do literacy, common, I guess.
Now, hang on. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely fine. I was just going to remind you that remember, you can augment each other's roles. That I said last week. So, for example, if you had got together with Gulliver and tried to come up with one together, Gulliver, what's 10% of your skill? Round up.
10% would be 6.
6. So you would have increased your skill availability to 45, Bartleby, when you learned.
Oh, yeah. That would have been good, but I got hasty.
Yeah. So, but just remember that for the thing later on. Yeah. You sort of like have a think, and you do remember from when you were in the church that there's been various symbols used to draw on houses where disease or plague and death have been rampant, and you do remember a long time ago that there was something about sacrificing young lambs and smearing the top with their blood. But since there's no lambs round here, you do know that sometimes a big red cross is used to sort of like signify that it's do not enter. And also you've seen primitive drawings of skulls, just the top half being drawn in various locales to again signify plagues or something like that. I'm just going to do you a quick little drawing. So something a bit like, it's just a quick, don't be judgmental, please. Something like that. And no, it's not a pig facing you before anybody says anything.
Not got a curly tail.
I just had the joke of what's one of those? What's one of those?
This is one of
those.
Which is completely wasted on me since I don't have your cameras up.
Yeah.
So you can actually try to craft a sign similar to that on the door if you wish.
Yeah, I mean, if we can get something to barricade the door from the outside with, and then Gulliver will do his best to sort of either draw that on the door itself, or if not, to draw it, by the side of the door, or even on the stuff that they've
Okay, so you try to sort of like, you take some wood from roundabout and from the fire, and of course in the absence of any nails or anything, you just try to sort of like wedge it between the handle and sort of like bar it across. Do you have woodworking as a crafting tool or anything like that?
No.
Do you have a crafting skill at all?
No.
Does anybody have a crafting skill?
No.
No. Gulliver, since you're doing this, can you tell me what your dexterity and intelligence is together, please?
26.
Okay. So if you would like to roll a 1d100 then, thank you. Yeah, so Bartleby, you're stood there watching Gulliver, and he seems to sort of like be going, and he sort of like seems to be barging this thing, and Ben sort of like looks at what he's doing, then looks at you, and you suddenly see that Gulliver's doing a really good job of this. And he seems to have some, you suspect that he's been some kind of woodworker in his previous life, as he sort of like wedges this up. Would you like to roll your literacy roll for me, Bartleby?
Absolutely.
Oh, hang on. Who's drawing the sign?
Gulliver.
All right, so Gulliver, roll your literacy roll for me.
What
I'm
does
just
it look
watching.
like? What does it look like again, Bartleby?
Kind of like four little things, and then a larger bulb on top with circles for the eye sockets.
All right.
So you can add on, which will be 4, because 10%. Your skill must be 39, is it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so my skill is now 54.
Yeah, and you sort of like draw it, and you manage to put a bit of charcoal around the outside that makes it look quite almost like 3-dimensional, on the doorway. And you sort of like look back, and you're both quite impressed with what you've done. And Ben turns around to you, Gulliver, and says, "Never had you for a woodworker."
Gulliver will say, but it was when I used to work at the orphanages. What used to happen is that the tradesmen used to pay for us to do certain tasks, and because we were really classed as cheap labour. And
just so you know, Gulliver, you're not getting a roll for that. That was just pure, unadulterated luck that it came out. If you'd rolled anything higher, you would have built a house. Just so you know. So no, you do not now have craft woodworking in your series of skills.
What about board door?
No. Hengist has finished taking an outside bath, showered with water skin, and is now back into his armour.
Yeah, I was just
Can I
going to say,
check
whilst
his
he was-
eyes? Sorry. Can I check him, give him once over my first aid? See if I, check his eyes, see if they're dilated or anything, or...
Yes, by all means.
Hengist is going to be a bit wary of this because, of course, we've only just met, and now all of a sudden I'm having this guy, touching my face, and
Yeah, he looks. It doesn't look like he's ill.
Are you quite finished?
You're fine now.
So Hazra
Seems
sort of
like-
like watched you sort of like wash yourself down and then get back into everything, and he came across and said, "Just let me check out."
Want to make sure he's got all his teeth.
Yeah, and then that's it.
Not a horse. But no, I was going to say, in the meantime, whilst
no.
Angus was washing his armour and his hair and all that sort of stuff, he would have filled Hazra in very vaguely with the plan and the mission that we're on. So sort of like we're going to Ubbin Falls and who we're looking for in Ubbin Falls and that sort of thing.
Is there anything else?
Nothing about anything else.
Okay. Is there anything else you would like to do at this locale?
Does it seem like this has been the centre point for the mould and mildew spreading?
Yes, most definitely.
Do we know of any other? Is there any more paths that leads further into the?
No, it seems that the road that you were on terminates at this locality. The land around looks like it was once done from some kind of arable farming. So, even if there was another farm close by, it would be some distance away because there would be the width of this person's land, then the width of the next farmland, and then the farmhouse that was in the centre of that farm. So you can't see anything off in any of the distances at all.
Gulliver's going to go up to Hazra, and he's going to say, Did you say you were a tracker?
Yes, I am indeed. I'm a fine tracker. I can find almost anything.
Can you see any signs of a cart being pulled by a horse?
I will have a look around, sir.
Or maybe stored somewhere. That might have been stored. I want to know whether or not whoever was here had a horse and cart.
That seems very reasonable. I will have a look around now.
Okay, so Hazra, as you start looking around at the ground, what you will become completely apparent about is that there's not much of the ground around. Most of it is covered with this matting of the fungal growth. So if you, for example, at where you are now, if you wanted to get down to the actual ground, you would have to start to part this fungal growth.
Yeah, that's something I won't do. But what I will do is try to notice any slight raises in the fungus, as if it's going into a divot and then back out again, and just have a general look around that way.
I'll tell you now that there's no sort of like ruts in the fungus because as fungus grows, it would come up and mat everything.
Level out.
So there's no sort of like ruts in the fungus that sort of like shows that a cart goes round to one way. And none of you noticed anything like that when you actually approached the house in any case.
So, Gulliver, I would have to go further afield before I could see anything. There's too much fungus on the ground, and I don't want to disturb it.
Maybe the coffer started to fail.
And Bartleby, you do notice that day is getting on.
I don't want to be here at night, guys.
No, we must go now.
Of course not. Yes, I agree. We should start moving on. The question is, are we going to try the other houses in the village, or are we going to head back to the barge?
Tomorrow we start afresh.
So this is the farmhouse. So there's no other buildings round here. So
I know. Just we were meant to be going to the village. That was all.
Which village? Ubbin Falls.
Would we have to go back to the barge and notify Captain Sarv, I believe, that we did not find the knight we were looking for here?
Yeah, that would be the plan, and then you would travel on to Ubbin Falls. So
yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, so this is just sort of like halfway between Lindo and Ubbin Falls.
That's where I've gone wrong. I put villages in my notes. I meant to put farms.
Okay, so we Gulliver's going to I suppose Gulliver's going to agree and say we should head back. I think we should head back before when we still got the light.
Okay. We should probably at least get to the edge of the blight before darkness.
Indeed. Let's head off then.
Okay. So what we're going to do is that we're going to I'm going to. Will you stop moving your character as if you're walking around? I know. He was going to head off.
Can we have Jason back, please?
He was about to head off back to the barge, going. over the 8 weeks. Just like-
I do think realistically.
Right. There we go. So your journey back to the actual barge is somewhat uneventful as you head back, and by the time you actually get back to the barge, there is a somewhat worried-looking Sarv there, and I'm just going to whoosh you back to the barge.
Whoosh.
What sorcery is this?
And there you go.
It's
And
Gulliver's magic.
you notice that Jason goes off to busy himself with various guards, and then just disappears and suddenly becomes what I'm just going to mix the guards up so you can't tell which one is Jason anymore. And Jeremiah comes up and is really interested to see that you're actually there back. And he sort of like comes to you and says, sorry, wrong, and said,
I was looking at the wrong ship. I thought you were still doing the tokens. I've got it down at the bottom one. I'm thinking this is taking him bloody ages.
no, that's under deck. And,
I know.
and Medivac thought this was Jason. But
Is it like the thing when you put something underneath 3 cups? You've got
Yeah.
to guess which one's Jason.
But the interesting thing is that they're all Jason.
Jason said,
They were. How many were there originally? 4 or 5?
I think there was another one, wasn't
There
there?
was 4, and that was the
Yeah,
one
because
who
one died
Yeah.
through the poison.
Anyway, Jeremiah
Contemplate.
Clubfoot sort of like comes rushing over to you as you sort of like get back, and I'm just going to move you round so you're all sort of like in the group like that. And Jeremiah sort of like comes over and says, "Oh, I am so pleased that you are back. What did you find?" Sarv turns round to you, Hazra, and holds out his hand,
"Yep, I'll give him his ring back and say, thank you, sir."
and he sort of like takes it and spits on it and gives it somewhat of a rub, and then slips it back onto his finger. And he turns round to you, Hengist, and says, "Report."
We found the farm, Captain, where
It was just deserted.
Boy, hold your tongue.
we found the
Gulliver
farm.
sort of like send a look towards Hengist.
As Gully said, the farm was deserted. Apart from it was covered in a fungus and mildew. We found initially no sign of anyone there, but there were. How shall I put it?
No sign of life.
Creatures of the dead.
So hopefully his wife and young son got to safety before the curse took over the place.
Alas,
That
not,
is-
Captain. Alas, not. I said there was no sign of life. Unfortunately, we found their bodies inside the house.
That is good news. I hope they were given the appropriate blessing and burial by you thesists of the Order of the Twin Moons.
We also, I must report that we
Bartleby
found...
goes, do-do-do-do-do.
Yeah, that's what Henry said. He hasn't broken stride.
Yeah, Hengist and Bartleby suddenly goes through his spell list thinking, did I take lay to rest?
Not at all.
You know, I am sure that
You're
was
such a bad breeze.
I am sure that's one of the spells that you got really excited about.
It sounds like one of my.
Shovel somewhere.
I'm just having a look now.
It's not on my page.
No, I remember you getting so excited about that spell. Yes, I hang this. Go on.
We also found the Knight Templar's armor, but we found no sign of him at all. Not even his body.
He sort of like looks around all of you and says, that will take place. It's noble place within Count Bastion's halls. He will be pleased to know that a breastplate of such magnificent craftsmanship and honourable lineage has been brought back from the brink of darkness. It will rally our troops and raise morales to know that if not the Knight Templars themselves, then part of their royal dress actually bears witness to our struggle within the Count's palace.
We didn't bring it with us.
You left it, boy?
It was too dangerous to bring with us.
Who went? Who brought it? Who found it?
I found it, Captain, but it was covered in spores of the curse.
Bringing that back would have probably infected all the ship.
He looks at you all sort of like in turn, and Jeremiah sort of like does what he did with the Count in the palace, and sort of like almost like leans up and guarding his.
Gulliver wants to try to listen to see what he says.
Yeah, guarding his mouth, so you can't lip read him. He whispers something into Sal's roll. As always, it's a formidable roll, Gully.
Perception.
Yes.
You got this, Gully. Nope.
No.
And Sarv turns around to you and says to you all and say, it is unfortunate that the fire had no effect on this mildew. This is something that has changed, something that we will have to take action against if we come across this fungal growth again in the future.
We didn't burn it.
He sort of like shoots you a glance as if to say, shut up, you are not in charge here. And he just sort of like looks at you, and he sort of like fixes his gaze at you, and out of the corner of his mouth snarls, Guard Hengis, did you remove the growth with fire?
I must regret to say we did not.
Jeremiah goes,
Gulliver was sort of like get really close to Ben and sort of like say, I was going to do it. You said it would be a beacon.
That reminds me of Sneakers. Have you seen Sneakers, the film, when he says, be a beacon? He sort of like turns away and sort of like looks to the back of the boat and says, Guard Hengis, this will be in my report to the Count.
Of course.
And then he turns round and he says, prepare to set sail.
Prepare!
And he sort of like marches off to the back. And as the guards sort of like start to sort of like mess around with things, Jeremiah sort of like comes limping up to you and say, did you find anything else? He's addressing you all.
What else would we have found, Jeremiah?
I don't know. Anything of interest. The Count will expect a full report when we return. I think it is best to share any piece of information you have. Who knows what awful monstrosity a lying wait. I may be the only one who gets back safely. It is important that we share our knowledge completely.
Found
In that-
the child dead. Is that important enough?
I think we've established that. Was there anything else in the house?
Apart from a lot of fungus and spores, there was nothing.
Oh. And where was the armour?
It was in the cellar, surrounded by spores.
Just lying in the floor in the cellar?
It was in a chest, but there was nothing else in
In
the
a chest? What else was in the chest?
There was nothing.
Nothing at all.
Just a bit of velvet cloth that had fallen off the armour, and fungus.
A velvet cloth? It is unusual to wrap armour, as you well know, Master Hengist, in velvet cloth. Oiled cloth, more likely. Velvet cloth, very rare. Could anything else have been in the chest? Could have been.
No, there was nothing. There was nothing in the chest.
No.
You have everything. You have all the information that we have now.
But
There's nothing else.
Was the chest completely full?
The only thing that was at the chest was open when I got there, and the only thing that was in
It
there
was open.
It was.
Gulliver's going to put another look at Hengist.
So it was
He's going to
open.
go, Hengist, I think Sar wants you.
It was open. That is so interesting. And the
Hengist is
velvet
good.
cloth was over the top of the breastplate? Yes, I remember you saying. So maybe something was on top of the velvet cloth. Very interesting.
We've had a long day. We
Yes.
we need to rest now.
I have as well. I will leave you to your respite. It is late, and I am not feeling 100%. I am going to retire to below deck to my somewhat shaky hammock. And he goes hobbling off, nodding to the guards and smiling and smirking as he heads to below deck.
What a strange and disturbing man.
I don't like him. He's creepy.
And at that point, we will have a quick break for everybody with a bad back to stretch and limber up. If you're on cam with me, please remember that everybody's cam will still be on. So, you don't want to see people doing back exercises or yoga in the background. We will
Naked yoga.
We will be back in 10 minutes. So please go away, get yourself a drink, get a stretch, exercise that back, and we will be back in 10. See you soon.